In this video, I would like to talk about the problem with always trying to become better. Maybe you're the type just like me, where you always try to strive to become better, which can be a good thing. It obviously is a good thing. It's great to strive for greatness. But sometimes by always trying to be better, there's things that we forget, there's things that we might not pick on, which can actually do the opposite rather than trying to help us, which is what I would like to talk about in this video. The things that I mention in this video is things that I do myself and things that I believe in. Number one is probably a very obvious one, which is trying to become perfect. Maybe you've caught yourself a bunch of times trying to become perfect. There's many times, even recently, where I try to be perfect in certain things. And for me, it's still a constant reminder that I need to remind myself. It's still something that I need to tell myself. But one thing that has helped me is just understanding that the greatest of things are just actually pretty simple. I tend to compare myself, but not in the way that most people would think. Now, obviously, yes, I've compared myself in a negative way, but I also tend to compare myself in the terms of what other people are doing, what other successful people, or even people that aren't even successful yet. It doesn't necessarily have to be with successful people, but just that maybe they're just doing simple things and it's working. So sometimes I think to myself, I go, well, maybe I should just be a little bit more simple on things, on how I'm doing things. Sometimes we catch ourselves trying to put so much time, well, of course, time matters, but just so much thought into something, which can be great. But sometimes we forget that maybe some things are better being simple. I'm not sure if this makes sense or not, but sometimes by being simple, it takes that mindset away from us just trying to become perfect. And I still try to tell myself and remind myself that none of us on this earth are perfect. We can strive for perfection. And even sometimes that can switch on that false mindset, that false belief where we have to make something perfect, where we have to be perfect. So that's something that I'm still trying to realize and understand and process. So I don't really have that much information about trying to be perfect, but I do know that that is one of the things. It's a problem that I struggle with, and it's a problem that I know and I'm sure a lot of other people struggle with as well. So one thing that has worked for me is just understanding that no one is perfect. And I know that sounds cliche, but just reminding myself now again does help a lot. And even just seeing the other people that have done great things, seeing how they operate, how they roll, and I start to realize what they're doing is just quite simple. So maybe I should implement maybe simple things instead of just trying to, in a sense, have things figured out. Because as I've said on one of my recent videos, on a couple I believe, is that no one has it figured out either. No one is perfect, no one has it figured out. At the same time, we are figuring it out as we go. And some people can be good at figuring things out as they go, and sometimes for other people, it can be quite hard to get to a point where we are good at figuring things out. But that's one thing that I do. I just try and remind myself, although I know it sounds cliche, but just to remind myself that, hey, listen, Scott, you're not perfect. And what I've also realized is trying to be perfect leads us to an unfulfilled mind. That's what I've realized. It makes me feel like there's something missing, even though there isn't. And it can make me feel burnt out because I'm trying to think so much about something. Number two is trying to control everything, which again is something that I struggle with. I used to struggle with it bad in the past, but I feel like now I've gotten much better at it. And I feel like with all of these topics that I've mentioned in this video, and even for the next one after this, I feel like we can all relate to it in some way. But as I said, when it comes to trying to control everything, I used to be quite bad than I am now. But even sometimes now, I catch myself trying to control everything, trying to feel like I can control everything. And again, with a lot of these topics, with a lot of other topics as well, is that it's just about reminding ourselves. Sometimes it takes time to get to a point where we are understanding of a topic. And I feel like for these ones, it can be like that for me, where I do need to remind myself of these things. But when it comes to trying to control everything, I feel like that is another one where again have to remind myself that I can't control everything. Sometimes we know that. Sometimes we are conscious of that. We know that. But I feel like it's just this repetition thing. It's just reminding ourselves that we don't have control over things. And sometimes it can be hard. When I was in high school, I wanted to have control over everything. I wanted to control a lot of things just so I can feel at peace, so that I can feel this sense of security and safety. But another thing I keep telling myself is that some things are just out of our control. There is things that will happen to us that we can't control. There's some things that may happen to other people, maybe friends or family, that we don't necessarily have control over. For me, I feel like this was a harsh truth. This is a thing that I needed to understand, because sometimes we want things to be perfect. Sometimes we want everything to be perfect. Our goals, we want things to become perfect. Especially with me creating these videos, I would like things to be perfect. I would be lying if I said I never. We want things to go smoothly. We want no challenges. But the reality is sometimes, and most times, there is going to become challenges. So one thing that I do is I try to reframe the challenges that is happening. I try to reframe the things that I am going through, and instead of seeing them as negative, but just seeing them as something else, something that can help me. Because I feel like the only thing that we can do is just accept what's happening, accept the challenge, and try and learn what went wrong or learn what we could do to do better and just move on. I feel like that is the only thing we can do. Maybe you also feel the same way, or maybe you don't, but this is what I tell myself, and this is what I truly believe. There is going to be trials, obviously, tribulations, obviously, setbacks, failures, and as much as we want things to go smoothly, sometimes they're not. Sometimes we might pick a goal, choose a goal, or do something, and it might not go as smoothly. And it doesn't have to be with goals, but just life in general. Things don't go smoothly. So sometimes, or most times, we just have to accept what is happening, and I try and see it as a part of my life. I go, well, you know what? This has happened. There's nothing I can do about it. And sometimes that's hard getting to that point. Sometimes it's hard to just accept the fact that this is happening and to just move on. I would say if it's something that I can't actually control, if it's something that I have no control over, then why should I spend so much time and energy on it? And although I am saying this, there is times where I do. So this is something that I'm still telling myself, and this is something that I believe and do myself. Number 3, I believe, is an important one, because I believe it's something that we will experience at some point, which is forgetting our progress. Life can move so fast sometimes where we forget about our past, and not in the sense of forgetting about negative stuff. Sometimes that can be great, but more of the past as in the things that we've done, the good things that we've done, the good progress that we've made that has led us to the places where we are right now. Sure, we might not be at the places yet where we want to be still, but that doesn't mean that we won't be. And something that I do is I just remind myself as much as I can of the progress that I have been through and the hard journey in the past that I have endured, and how I'm still standing here today going after my goals, still having a smile on my face, even though it can be tough, even though I'm going through tough challenges or setbacks or even failures. But I believe that looking back in our past and seeing the progress can reassure us for the future, make us realize that, well, maybe what we are experiencing right now is probably what we experienced in the past. And what did we do in the past? We kept going, so maybe we should just keep going right now. So it's kind of stuff like that. A mindset that I tend to have is I tend to see it as a video game. I tend to see the challenges as a video game. Each challenge that I overcome, each hurdle, this is just another level that I'm just overcoming. And sometimes we don't know how we are going to overcome that level. But all we can do is just keep going. All we can do is try and push through those challenging moments. And it's easier said than done. It's not easy to get through those challenging hard moments. But what I do is I just try to see these moments as just another level of me leveling up. Because the more I think about it, if I was to experience these challenges years ago, I probably would have gave up. And that word is not something that I want to say. That phrase actually isn't something that I want to say. But that can be the reality. So I also think to myself, well, these things that I'm experiencing right now, maybe they are happening to me at the right time, at the right place, even if I believe it or not. What if these things are happening to me because they're meant to help me? They're meant to get me to the places where I want to be eventually. So these are the things that I tend to remind myself still. These are still things that I am figuring out. These are still things that I am finding more about. I'm just learning as I go, like everyone else. And it's still something that I am doing. It's still something that I say to myself. I remind myself of the progress in the past. And when I do remind myself of the amount of progress that I have been through in the past, it gives me reassurance. It makes me go, you know what? Actually, yeah, why am I worrying right now? I can get through these challenges. I have been through similar challenges in the past. This is just a level up in a way to get me to the places where I want to be. So I hope that this video could help you in any type of way. I hope that the 3 points that I've mentioned in this video could help you in some way. I hope that you could take something, even if it's something little, out of this video, and I hope that it could benefit you in any type of way. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you could please like this video, subscribe down below, and if you know anyone that may benefit from watching this, then I would appreciate it if you could please share this video to them. Thank you so much, and I will see everyone in the next one.